6-in-1 features were designed to help you in unexpected incidents on the road. You can use the built-in powerful LED torch or flashing red emergency beacon for nighttime emergencies. In case you're trapped due to flooding or fire, use the seatbelt cutter and window breaker to free yourself. Patriot Charger is always within reach because it plugs into your car's cigarette lighter outlet and also doubles as a phone charger and portable power bank. Give the gift of peace of mind to your loved ones and take advantage of the 10% off discount with my special code REDPILL10. Click the link below in the description and get the 6-in-1 Patriot Charger while supplies last. With the Patriot Charger, you get an emergency window breaker, emergency seatbelt cutter, flashing emergency beacon, ultra bright LED flashlight, USB car charger, and a 2200 milliamp power bank. Go to patriotcharger.com and use code REDPILL10. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much. I accidentally played the wrong sponsor ad there for a moment, but we've got all the technical difficulties worked out. Almost 1,800 people here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And please join me in welcoming my guest for this evening, Juanita Broaddrick. Juanita, how are you?
Hi, Zach. I'm doing great. Nice to be with you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for doing this, and I know that the audience is really looking forward to it, too. Well, Juanita, as I said in the introduction, most people would probably need, no refresher on who you are. But just for the sake of anybody here who may not be familiar with you, please tell us who you are and give us an introduction.
Well, sure. I'd be happy to. I'm a retired registered nurse. I own nursing homes back in the last century. No. And anyway, and I had the misfortune of meeting Bill Clinton back when I was a nursing home owner, and it was a very unfortunate circumstance.
Yes.
I had worked in his campaign. Like I said, I owned a nursing home, and some of my friends went down to volunteer for Bill Clinton when he was running for governor and asked me to go with him. And I thought, that might be fun. I had my hands full with my businesses, but it just seemed like something. I'd never been involved in politics. So that's what I did for about a month. A month was the total time that I volunteered for the campaign. And the reason being, about 3 weeks after I started volunteering, Bill Clinton came to my nursing home on a campaign stop and was going around Van Buren, my hometown, and he came by my nursing home, and I met him there. And the picture you see on the front of my book is the picture that the newspaper took the day that he came. Mm-hmm. And after the picture was taken, he comes over to me and starts talking about me, asking questions about me in the nursing home. And I took that opportunity to tell him about the problems in nursing homes. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get very far talking to him about it. He said, are you ever in Little Rock? And I said, yes. I go there quite often for meetings, and in fact, I'll be there in 3 weeks. And he said, well, when you get there, call my campaign office and bring me some information about what you're telling me about the per diem rate and everything that we were being paid for nursing home clients. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, yes, I would. So that day came, and my nurse and I were going down to a nursing seminar. And we got to Little Rock, checked into the Camelot Hotel. And then the next morning when we got up, we called his campaign headquarters. And the young lady said that he wasn't there, but gave me a number to call. So I called the number and told him but he knew exactly who I was when he answered the phone. But anyway, I told him that we wanted to come over at noon during our lunch break and bring him the information about the nursing home per diem rate and the Medicaid rates. And he said, I'm not going to be there today. And I was just disappointed. I thought, oh my gosh, I had this opportunity and now he's not going to be there. And then he said, why don't I come to your hotel now? And I thought, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So he said, I'll meet you down in the coffee shop and I'll call your room when I get there and we'll talk about it down there. And so I turned to Norma mm-hmm. Rogers. That was the lady that was traveling with me. And I said, you go on to the meeting and sign us in. And as soon as I get through in the coffee shop, I'll be right there. So I waited the room, and in a little while, maybe 15, 20 minutes, my phone rings. It's Bill Clinton. And he immediately starts saying, you know, there's so many people down here and it's so crowded, and there's even reporters. He said, can we just have coffee and talk about this in your room? And I can remember, I don't care if it's been 40 years, I remember being very nervous about it because I'd never been alone in a room with a man that I didn't know in a hotel room. But then you have to think, Zach, this is the Attorney General. So I agreed, and I let him come up to my room. I ordered coffee, and in a little while he came and knocked on the door. When I opened the door, he was standing out in the hallway with these very dark sunglasses on. And I immediately, a red flag went up. But it's just one of those things. He's the Attorney General. I let him come on in.
Right.
And he comes into the room. First thing he does is take off his suit coat. And I go over to the table and start pouring coffee. And he says, come here a minute. Well, it was a large table that looked out on the Arkansas River. We were up on about the 4th floor. And he says, I want to show you something. So I walk all the way around the table to where he's standing, and he's pointing down below at a little old dilapidated building. And he said, that's an old 1800 jailhouse. And he said, when I become governor, I want to restore that. And I don't know what I said to him. I can't even remember. And I started to walk back around the table to where I had my information and to finish pouring the coffee. And he grabs me. And I was shocked. I thought, I did not know what to think.
Right.
And then he starts to kiss me. And then I start telling him real quick, no, sir, that's not going to happen. You know, this, I don't even remember what I said. I just remember being very flustered and trying to go back around the table. And that's when things went really bad. And I started yelling, and he grabbed me, tried to kiss me, and I would yell more. And every time I would yell, he would grab hold of me real hard and bite on my upper lip. He would just come down to me and bite on my lip, and then eventually push me back on the bed. And that I felt like I'd lost all control. You know, there he was. He's a big man, and I only weighed about 110 pounds, and I'm 5'5", and he was just completely overpowering. And I won't go through the rape scenario because it was vicious. It was awful. My clothes were torn. Every time I yelled, he would bite down on my lip, and I actually thought he was going to bite my lip in two. That's how awful it was. After the rape was over, I'm sitting up on the side of the bed, gutturally crying. I mean, I'm in a state of shock. I'm so relieved that it's over, and I'm just wanting him to get out of my room. And he's standing at the foot of the bed, straightening himself. And what he said to me next, it was unbelievable. He says, "Don't worry, I'm sterile. I had mumps when I was a boy." Ooh. And I thought, why on earth are you telling me that? And then he just looks at me like, what on earth are you crying about, woman? I mean, he just didn't grasp to me the severity of what I was going through. And then collects himself, puts on his sunglasses, and by that time, my mouth was so swollen and bleeding. And he just motions to it and says, "You better put some ice on that," and goes out the door. I can just remember rushing to the door to lock it as soon as I knew that he was gone, because I was so frightened. Who else would try to come in the room? You know, I was thoroughly in shock.
As you should be. As you should be. Let me just say thank you to Jack Attack, says, "In it together, where we go one, we go all." And Red Pills Warhawk says, "This is making me want to throw my tomahawk, bro." Yeah, I think that this story makes people instantly and instinctively angry when they hear it. A person such as yourself, someone who's helping on a campaign, and I'm sorry, this was the campaign for governor?
Yes.
Yes.
Campaign.
Okay.
He was Attorney General running
Yes.
for governor.
Yes. And then add into that the fact that he is the highest law in the land as the Attorney General of the state of Arkansas. People would, I would imagine, consider themselves to be safe within a situation like that. So I don't think anybody would fault you for putting yourself in a situation where you thought that you would be okay. Now, as far as the selfish nature, I can't imagine the mindset of a person who would not grasp just how damaging that would be to a person. And I think that it gives us a real insight into the workings of the mind of this man. Now, with regard to your lip, I mean, did you require any stitches or any other type of medical attention?
No, if you've ever bitten the inside of your mouth,
Yeah.
you can imagine that only 10 times worse.
Yeah. Okay.
He was careful not to bite through. I only had one small, maybe an eighth of an inch that came through to the outside, and it was right on the lip area.
Yeah.
But my lip was so swollen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could see it from the door. That's why I was saying you better put some ice on that.
Mm-hmm.
And after it was over, I just went back and laid down, and because I was hurting all over.
Mm-hmm.
My mouth was hurting. I completely forgot about Norma.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about the meeting.
Sure.
I was just frightened that somebody else was going to come in to get rid of the body.
Of course.
I mean, that's what I felt like.
Now,
and then about 30 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. So I get up and go over and look through the peephole, and it's Norma looking for me. And so I open the door, and she sees me, and I see her, and she comes in and grabs me and says, "My God, what happened?" And we went and sat on the end of the bed, and I told her everything that had happened to me. And we're both just sitting there thinking, what in the world? How could this happen? How could this happen? We just couldn't understand it. And she said she went and got ice from her mouth. And then she came back and she says, "What do you want to do?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Just take me home. Just take me home." And I remember us stopping several times on the way to get ice from my mouth because it was about a 3-hour drive back home.
Oh, wow. Did you ever at that time report it to the police?
Oh, no. Absolutely. It was that you're talking about the 1970s. Mm-hmm. I was raised in a situation, not at my home, but in a hometown where men would do things and the older women would say, "Oh, men will be men, just deal with it." But also, this was the Attorney General. Mm-hmm. He was the police.
Yeah.
There was no DNA kits back then. Mm-hmm. There was none of that. If there had been, I would not have done it. And one of the primary reasons was he regulated nursing homes as Attorney General. I had gone to him and told him about the problems nursing homes in Arkansas were having.
Right.
And, that we need, and my gosh, he knew I was already having financial difficulties. Just one call, and he could have closed me down.
He could have destroyed your business. That's awful.
Yes.
Yes. So, thinking about the type of situation that you said existed back at that time, do you think that the way that he acted, was that a symptom of that culture that was, in play at that time? Or do you think it was more about Bill Clinton and his, just complete lack of empathy for other people?
Oh, no, I think it's his complete empathy for other people. And I also will always believe that statement, that horrible statement that he made to me, that he was sterile, he couldn't have children, I think that's one of the big reasons that the man was so promiscuous and with so many women, and he didn't feel like there would ever be a problem with getting anyone pregnant.
Sure. Well, the first thing that stands out to me is if he was sterile because he had mumps, how was Chelsea born? I mean, I have a theory, but I mean, how is Chelsea supposed to be his child if he had the mumps?
I think she had. Whenever I found out that Hillary was pregnant, it shocked me. I couldn't believe it. And at that time, it seems like that they were traveling. Arkansas would do these sharing things with other nations and things. And about that time, they were in Europe, either in Sweden or Switzerland or something, where the in vitro was first done. And I just have an idea. I don't think that she had an affair with Webb Hubbell, but I think he was a donor. I honestly believe he was a sperm donor.
Well, I mean, Webb and Chelsea have a remarkably similar profile. If you look at a picture of them side by side, it's pretty clear, I think, that he's her true father. So how did you recover, Juanita? I mean, were you able to go back to work? Were you able to even trust anyone? I mean, if he's on his way to become the governor, that must have been terrifying.
Oh, it was. It was absolutely, it was horrifying. And I would see him on TV, and I'd just have to switch it real quick. But it was, it was frightening that, if I opened my mouth or said anything, that he could close my business down. And people say, well, how did you? Because I became even more successful after that. And the only thing, Zach, that I can attribute that to is I worked myself to death. I walked around like a zombie for probably a week. And there are 5 people that I told because they knew me well, and they knew something was wrong. And even though my lip, after a couple of days, the swelling had gone down, and I could cover the bruising up with makeup, people knew that there was something wrong with me. So there were 5 people that I told that I had to tell. And another thing also, this man called my office 3 to 4 different times after the rape.
Oh, my goodness.
He would call. I would be in my office, and my assistant administrator would page me and say, Bill Clinton is on the line. And I would say, please tell him I'm busy, that I can't. And I never told her, so it was always a very questionable to her why in the world I didn't want to talk to Bill Clinton on the phone. Well, about the 3rd or 4th time that he called, I happened to answered the phone because it was at lunchtime, and Berta was down in the lunchroom. So I answered the phone and said my usual thing, and my name was Hickey at the time, and I said, Brownwood Manor, Mrs. Hickey, how can I direct your call? And this voice says, hi, Juanita, it's Bill. When are you coming back to Little Rock?
Good Lord.
And I hung up the phone, and he never called back.
Oh, well, good thing you finally got the hint. Now, what was Bill Clinton's reputation like at that time? I mean, because clearly today we have decades of behavior that people are aware of. Obviously, there's quite a bit of conjecture and talk about what was going on in Arkansas when he was not only Attorney General but also as governor. Lots of illegal activity. Was he known as a person who, was potentially not a good guy?
No, not at all. Everybody thought that he was just absolutely wonderful. None of those rumors had gotten around. They hadn't gotten around to anyone that I knew or to me in any way. No one knew. If I had known anything like that,
sure,
I would have been, there's no way I would have let that man come to my room.
Okay. All right. I figured that was the case. But my friend, Black Conservative Patriot, says, I have believed Miss Juanita since I was a kid. I never bought the lies from the left, even though I was a dem youngin' back then. And yes, I remember this story as a child too. And I have to be honest, the first thing that I thought was, what is why would she want to come out and do this right now? Why would she sacrifice absolutely everything, her reputation, everything that they put you through on, in the press and on Capitol Hill, if it wasn't real? I mean, if this hadn't actually happened, of course, And
but I never came out willingly. I never would have come out. I was outed by the Paula Jones suit.
Yes. Okay. Well, that was my next question. Let me just do a couple more quick thank yous. Jeannie Garcia, thank you. Jerome Morsi, thank you. And Trump Be Cool says, Juanita, are you still threatened much to this day? Do you receive threats from diehard Clinton fans?
Usually through Twitter, just ridiculous things. Through Twitter, and people saying, I even had one woman on Facebook about 3 years ago said, I know that Juanita Broaddrick, she was in prison.
What?
And I thought, oh my God. So I took a screenshot of that, put it on Twitter, and they shut her down real quick.
Good. I'm glad. All right. So after that, you continue to run your business. You became even more successful. Tell us, what happened in order for you to be forced to come forward and tell your story.
Well, the rumors were getting around. I guess it was in 1992 or 93. No, it was just before he was running for president. There was a man called Phil Yoakum who wrote a letter to the media, and he and Sheffield Nelson was ran against Bill Clinton for governor back in the 80s. And so they came to my office one day, and Phil Yoakum had heard about this, and I denied it to him, and he said, you've got to come forward. Well, when I told them pretty much to get out of my office, they sent this letter to the media. So then rumors started going around then, and then they died down, thank goodness. And then in 1998, 2 investigators for Paula Jones showed up on my front porch. And that's before I had my security gate. And I went to the door, and I walked out on the porch and talked to them. In fact, their name was Rick and Beverly Lambert. They're the parents of Miranda Lambert, the country singer. Oh, anyway, yes. When she was a little girl, her parents had an investigative firm, and they called me. I talked to them out on the front porch, and they said, we've heard these rumors, and Ms. Jones' attorneys would really like to talk to you and have you come forward. And I told them in so many terms, I said, you will not get me to come forward. That's a horrible thing. I never want to go through talking about that again. And I was nice to them, but I told them, in other words, leave me alone. Sure. Well, come to find out, they recorded the conversation without telling me.
Man.
And took that back to Paula Jones' attorneys. And then I found, and I thought when they left that, well, that's the end of that. They know that I'm serious and that I'm not going to come forward. Well, it was just a few weeks later that I was subpoenaed to be deposed in the Paula Jones suit as Jane Doe number 5.
Wow. So when did you first come out and speak publicly about this willingly?
After I denied it, I went to that deposition. I was so angry. And I went straight into that deposition and told them nothing had happened, and it was ridiculous. Don't bother me about this. And so that's what I did in the Paula Jones suit. And then the Paula Jones attorneys sent the recording to Ken Starr. And then here comes Ken Starr. Well, my son is an attorney, and he knew that I was not going to tell the truth in the Paula Jones suit. And he said, that's you, Mom. That's what you have to do. I had told him when he was 19 or 20. And anyway, he said, he came to me and told me, he said, you're going to be deposed by Ken Starr. And he said, Mom, Paula Jones' suit was a civil suit. He said, Ken Starr deposition is federal, and you have to tell the truth. So that's how that all came out. And then approximately, just a few weeks after I was deposed by Ken Starr, then is when I did the NBC Dateline. I had been talking with Lisa Myers for about a year about doing an interview, and I told her, I mean, she knew what had happened because we had talked about it, but I told her I just did not want to come forward. Well, after I'd come forward with Ken Starr, I knew it was time. And Lisa had written me a letter and said, you need to come forward. It's going to get out. People know who you are now, and you need to tell this in your own way. So that's what I did.
Now, did Ken Starr threaten you at all? I mean, because we've seen people very recently come under congressional subpoena and maybe not even necessarily outright, lie, but I mean, just not answering questions the way that Congress wants them to answer, and then they end up getting prosecuted.
Oh, no, there was nothing.
Good.
It's just that my attorney gave me immunity or whatever it is for lying in the, they gave me immunity for lying to the Paula Jones suit.
Okay.
So that's the only thing. I walked in, they were so kind to me.
Good.
And it was so hard to finally to finally tell what happened. It was so difficult in this room full of strangers.
Right.
And of course, Bill Clinton's attorneys were there too. And the minute that I started telling my story, I'll never forget one of the Clinton attorneys. It was a man and a woman. The man stood up and threw some papers out from the wall, out to the wall, and screamed, "She's lying!" right in the deposition.
Wow.
And that sort of shook me.
I would imagine. I mean, that's not normally how a lawyer should be behaving in a situation like that.
No, I think it just shocked them that the truth was going to finally come out.
Well, that was in the beginning of their great undoing. Let me just say thank you to Azure Sky says, Miss B, I love you, darling. I send you because I send you BC as a jack off stories on Twitter. Bill Clinton is not a good guy. That's right. Marty Cannon says, Miss Juanita, I have never heard your story. I'm so sorry this happened to you. It is disgusting. You are a true frontline patriot then and now. You're in great company with Red Pill, where we go one, we go all worldwide. Well, thank you, Marty. We appreciate it. Social distancing observer says her interview on InfoWars was amazing. Shadow Troll says, may everyone be blessed by the armor of God. Happy Saturday, everyone. Where we go one, we go all. And Debbie Zapina, thank you very much for that thumbs up. So after that took place, I mean, I would imagine that once your name is public and once you're forced to come out and tell this story, were you able to return to your life as normal before? Did you I mean, was there any thought at that time that perhaps your life was in danger from the Clintons?
Oh, I was followed all the time, and right after the. Two investigators came to my front porch. My husband installed a security gate so no one could. We lived on 40 acres, but we installed a security gate down at the bottom of the drive, and so I would see cars parked down there, and they would follow me. But most usually it was reporters. But I don't know. There were so many different cars that followed me, and I had a concealed weapon. I always carried my gun with me. That's how frightened I was.
Well, I've seen many people ask in the chat, how did you avoid being Arkansided? I'm sure you're familiar with the term. Did you ever feel at any point that your life was directly in danger as a result of coming forward?
No, I never did.
Okay.
I never did. And why I don't know, but I'm very happy that I wasn't Arkansided.
Absolutely. Navy Mom Florida says, Juanita, thank you for your bravery. When you were at the Trump-Hillary debate, did Hillary make eye contact with you? Also, please describe that evening. That is definitely something I want to hear about. But first, I want to hear if there was anything direct that happened between you and Hillary Clinton. Did she ever, or did her and Bill ever try to contact you after this came out to try to silence you, or did she make any statements about you publicly that were brought to your attention?
No, the only thing Hillary's ever said, she's never mentioned my name. He's never mentioned my name. Bill Clinton hasn't.
Okay.
The only thing she's always said is, oh, these things have been litigated and adjudicated, and they have not. They settled with Paula Jones, but none of the other cases. That's just her go-to phrase.
Sure.
Approximately 3 weeks after the rape, I mean, when I got back to my office 2 or 3 days later, I called the campaign headquarters and told them I couldn't volunteer anymore and that my business was taking too much of my time. So I got that out of my life completely. And then I forgot anything to do with the campaign. Well, prior to the rape, I had helped organize a fundraiser for Bill Clinton at my dear friend's home, Buddy and Betty Criswell. Buddy was my dentist, and Betty and I played tennis together all the time. So they had this beautiful home, and we'd arranged a fundraiser for there. The day of the fundraiser, Betty calls me and says, because I had some things I was supposed to bring to the fundraiser, list of people who wanted to donate, list of people who wanted to be a part of the campaign. And Betty called and she said, what time are you going to be here? And I said, beware. She said, oh, at the fundraiser tonight. And I said, oh, Betty, I cannot come at all. I'm so sorry. I haven't been feeling well, and I'm just so busy. And she said, well, I need those lists. And I said, well, I'll get those up to you as soon as I leave my office. I'll run those up to you. So there I go from my office up to Betty's house. It was probably around 6 in the evening. And I think the campaign fundraiser started at 7. But anyway, I get to her house, give her all these things, and tell her that I'm so sorry, but I have to leave because I did not want to be there when the Clintons came in. So here I go to the front door, and as I'm walking to the front door, a gentleman who drove them to the airport was a good friend. His name was Chuck Watts. He was a local pharmacist. He did not know what had happened to me, but he was their driver. And he comes over to me and he said, you're not going to believe this, but he says the topic all the way from the airport were the Clintons asking me, are you going to be there? And just personal questions about me. Yeah. So I thought, my God, I've got to get out of here. Start to the door again, and then here they come. And I see Hillary coming straight for me. And Zak, as she walked toward me, back then, I thought, oh, my God, here comes that poor woman that's married to that horrible, horrible man. And she comes over to me, introduces herself, and says, I just want you to know how appreciative that Bill and I are for everything you do in this campaign. And I could have nodded. I could have said, thank you. I don't know what. And so I just turned and started to walk. About that time, she grabs me hard, grabs hold of my arm, and pulls me back to her. And she pulls me, she's shorter, so she sort of pulls me down to her face, and she says, do you understand everything you do? And man, I jerked my arm from hers, and I walked out that front door, and I never saw him.
That's absolutely sadistic.
It is.
Yeah. Just
well, that's back before she had her henchmen to do her dirty work.
Yes. So at that time, was Hillary a relative unknown outside of just being Bill Clinton's wife?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As far as I knew, yeah. I was, like I said, when she walked towards me, I thought, oh, my God, that poor woman.
Sure.
Of course. But now I think she knew. I think she knew what had happened to me, and she was threatening me.
Absolutely. It sure sounds like it. Need to say thank you to Navy Mom Florida again. Thank you very much for that. So once everything came out, and you were forced into this public position, did people start to put the dots together in Arkansas with regards to the type of person Bill was?
I think so. I think it took Arkansas a little bit longer because, they were so proud of Bill Clinton and Bill Clinton becoming president and everything. People were just so enamored with this good old boy that he tried to portray. But let me back up too.
Sure.
In 1991, I was down at a nursing home meeting again in Little Rock, and with two of my nurses. And all of a sudden, somebody comes to the door and said, Ms. Broaddrick is wanted in the hall. So I get up and go out there, and the man points down around the corner to the elevator. And he said, "You're needed down there." I walk down there, and I go around the corner, and lo and behold, there stands Bill Clinton with two of his guards. And it shocked me. I hadn't seen this man in 13 years, and it was frightening. And as I go around the corner, I just sort of stop. And he comes over to me, and he starts saying, "I'm so sorry for what I did." He said, "I'm a changed man. I'm a family man, and I would never do anything like that again. I hope you understand." And I just stood there. It was just, it was overwhelming. And I looked at him, and I said, "You go to hell." And I walked off.
Good for you.
And when I got back to the nurses, they said, "What did he want?" And I said, "He apologized." And then, of course, about 4 weeks later, he announced he was running for governor. And what's the most frightening about that is not that I was there. It's that he knew where I was at that time in my life. And it's like he was saying, "I can reach out and touch you anytime I want."
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that sure looks like he was paying attention and keeping tabs on you. But how absolutely disgusting that he would, put on a show like that to come and, say that.
I know.
And to, obviously let you know that he could come and do whatever he wanted. So at the time that Bill Clinton became president, you're saying that everybody in Arkansas was unaware of, who he really was. I mean, when was it that people finally started talking about this? Because I've talked to some people from Arkansas, and it seems like certain people had no idea. Certain other people, it was just a very well-kept secret. Yeah, they knew that he was not a good man.
Yeah, I think that the eye-opener was Jennifer Flowers.
Yeah.
I think that was that did not get into the deviousness and the sadisticness of the man's nature, the predatory nature that he has. But I think that really began to show people, who this man was. And most people didn't want to believe it, though. The Democrats had their young president candidate, and they did not want to know this. Yeah. There is not one Democrat senator or representative that read my deposition with Ken Starr. They refused to. Republicans read it, but not one Democrat would read it.
And let me just do a couple of quick thank yous. Jeff George says, Clintons have killed more than CV-19. CV-19 is my the initials I use for the sickness that's going around right now. Jennifer 4327 says, HRC could have been our president. Too scary. God bless you, Juanita. We pray for you. Fredo Awakening says, you are a warrior, Juanita. Love you, RP. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you very much. Michael Kenny says, Juanita, you like so many women have dealt with this crap for too long. Justice is coming, and I hope it can be seen in 4K in every living room. I think that pretty much all of us can agree with that sentiment. Mel H says, keep it up. Thank you, Mel H. And Red Pills Warhawk says, bro, caffeine addict wants to know if H smelled like cabbage and urine or cabbage and sulfur. Classic. I have heard that before. I've heard that she had a very particular odor that followed her around. Is that something you can verify?
No, I can't. I was too frightened to even be there when they walked in. I don't remember smelling anything like that. But my friend Dolly Kyle, has said that yes, she had been around her, and she did absolutely smell like cabbage.
Oh, that's horrible. I don't know what that's about. Okay, so once everything came out, the Democrats clearly did not want to even consider the fact that this could be a real story. I mean, did they come after you publicly in the press, or did they do anything to try to malign you at that time to make you look as if you were not credible?
Oh, yeah. In fact, his attorney, he has never answered the question himself. Mm-hmm. He will always say, well, my attorneys have given a statement. But he himself has never answered my accusation.
Mm-hmm.
He's never uttered my name.
It's too dangerous. I mean, you're clearly a credible witness, and it's understandable why you didn't come forward. What about the press? How did the press treat you at that time?
Oh, horrible, horrible. After I went on NBC, my gosh, it was horrible. The letters I would get in the mail, it would just have to Juanita Broaddrick, Van Buren, Arkansas, and everybody there knew who I was, so I'd always get the letters. And I probably got a dozen or so letters of, threatening and hateful, and how awful I was to say these lies about Bill Clinton, their president, and all of this. And it was bad. And the press, oh my God. And one of the worst ones was Geraldo Rivera. And that's why I have such a hatred for that man now, regardless of what he says good for Trump or whatever. The way he maligned me back in those days, it was horrible. And so I just went back into the woodwork.
Mm-hmm.
I did what I did. I told my story, and I went back and even started another nursing home after that time for severely handicapped and mentally retarded children, and I was very proud of that.
Well, bless you for that. Well, now I would like to ask you about that night when President Trump brought you to sit with him, and you had the opportunity to see Hillary Clinton that night. First of all, how did you connect with President Trump? Did he reach out to you? And then let's talk about what that experience was like sitting across from Hillary.
Well, it was truly something.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Washington, D.C. with Paula Jones and Kathleen Willey doing a very in-depth interview with Aaron Klein in Breitbart. We were doing the interview, and some people have probably seen it on the internet, at the old Watergate. We did individual interviews, and then we did group interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And so the day before the debate, I was on a plane coming back home. I mean, the plane was taxiing, and I get a call from Steve Bannon's people saying, we'd like to have you at the debate tomorrow night. And I said, I'm on my way to Arkansas, and they said, well, please think about it. We'll make all the arrangements, and you can leave in the morning from Arkansas. So I said, let me think about it, and I'll call you when I get to Dallas. So when I got to Dallas, I called my son. And he had just heard the tapes, the Hollywood Access tapes. And
Mm-hmm.
he was thinking, oh, Mom, you just don't want to go do that. And I said, well, Kevin, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I said, I have thought about it, and yes, I'm going to do it. I said, he is inviting us to the most public forum.
Mm-hmm.
We have been told to go away and for so many years. And this is our opportunity to talk again,
Mm-hmm.
and to tell what this woman husband did to us, and bring it back into the light again. So we did. And I got up the next morning and was on a plane at 6 o'clock and didn't get home till 1 o'clock the day before,
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. So rushed around, and it was so funny. They told me, they said, now, be very incognito, wear a hat, wear sunglasses, but we don't want anyone to recognize you.
Sure.
So here I am on a plane with my sunglasses and my ball cap on, and they said there'll be a man at when you arrive, and he'll be holding up a sign that says Jane Morgan on it. So they said just go to him. So I did, and I remember walking over to this nice man, and he had on his little cap and everything, and I said, hi, I'm Jane Morgan. And he said, sure you are, let's go. So then we take off to the hotel, and they keep us hidden the whole day. I mean, they said, we'll get you anything you want, but you cannot leave this room because there's too many reporters staying here too, and
Sure.
we don't want you to be seen. So they hid us the whole day. And then the time comes for us to go to the debate, and we go to Trump's hotel where he was staying to meet him first. And we go in there, and it's so funny when we get there. It's like a spy movie. We're pulling in this the car with all the dark windows, and pull into the basement of this hotel and go up the service elevator to the top floor where we meet President Trump, well, candidate Trump then. And it was so exciting. It was absolutely wonderful. He came over to each one of us. It was Kathy Shelton, the young girl, when she was a young girl who was raped, and Hillary, well, you know who was there, and Paula Jones and Kathleen Willie and myself. And he was so kind. He was so soft-spoken, and could not have been more appreciative for us being there. And I remember him saying, he said, "Now, are you okay? Are you okay to go to this debate? Are you all right?" And I said, yes, I'm fine. Thank you. But he was so concerned about us. So nice. So then Steve Bannon says, well, let's go through here, ladies. And it was a room adjoining the room where we had met President Trump. And we go through there, and there's this long table with 5 chairs at it. We had no idea we were going to be interviewed. None. So we go in, and they tell us where to sit, and they said, save the center seat for Mr. Trump. And I turned to Kathleen Willie, because it was so nice, big red tablecloth, and I told her, I said, are we going to eat? You know, we had no idea what we were going in that room for. And then she said, I don't know. And so then President Trump, candidate Trump, comes in, sits down, acknowledges every one of us, and then he says, let them in. And I turned to Kathleen, and she looked at me, and then all of a sudden these double doors open, and here comes all of these cameras, all of these reporters, and when they get in the room, they're like a deer in the headlights looking at us, and I'm sure we looked the same way looking back at them. And then President Trump said, these ladies have something they'd like to say to you. And so thank goodness they started down on the other end with Paula Jones, so I'd have time to think. And we all gave a little statement about President Trump and how happy we were to be there and everything. And then it was over, and they started firing questions at President Trump about us being there, and he got up and left. and that way, and then Steve Bannon just ushered them all back out the door. Wow. So then we go in this long cavalcade to these long, I'll never forget it, in St. Louis, they had the highway completely shut down. And I remember taking a movie of it to send to my grandson, because it was just so cool. But anyway, when we get there, if you'll remember on the internet, that picture of Bill Clinton with his eyes all bugged out.
Yes.
That's when we walked in the building. That's the first they knew that we were there. And I never made eye contact with Hillary because of where we were sitting. I was sitting with Trump's daughter-in-laws and some other people, with Kathleen Willie and the other 2 ladies and myself. But we were sitting in an area that you couldn't see the stage that well unless they passed by. Right in front of us was a big bleacher with all these cameras on it. And when we came in the building and walked through and sat down, it was so funny. The biggest noise was all of those cameras turning from the stage to us, resituating their cameras to where we were sitting. And the cameras were on us then for probably 10 or 15 minutes before the debate. Yeah. And that was very uneasy. But she never saw us. But let me tell you, she knew we were there.
Oh, yeah. I imagine that was probably the most uncomfortable moment in Bill Clinton's life. I distinctly remember you guys walking in and him seeing it. And it was probably the most epic move that President Trump could have pulled, for multiple reasons, because I'm sure that it put Hillary off of her game for that debate. And then also it put the crimes of Bill Clinton on center stage. It was clearly an indictment of who he was and the type of person that he was, and, why you shouldn't just vote for someone because their husband had been president prior to that. I mean, the man is a criminal. He's an absolute awful man. And I'm so grateful that we have President Trump. Now, have you stayed in contact with President Trump since that night? No, I haven't. Not with him personally. With a lot of the people in the campaign, yes. Okay. But no, not with President Trump personally. All right, excellent, excellent. I need to say thank you to Johnny NS. Hey, Red Pill, thanks for replying to my email. Question for Juanita. Does she have any insight on Danny Williams or thoughts on him being Clinton's son? Danny Williams being the supposed illegitimate son of President Clinton, or former President Clinton. Yes, do you have any insight on that?
No, I do not believe it, mainly because of what he said to me, and mainly because I do not believe that Chelsea is his biological child.
Of course.
I feel sorry for the young man if his mom told him that, but isn't he about 42, 43, something like that now?
I think that's something about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and wouldn't you know that he would have been able to have proved that by now if it was true?
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm sorry, and I feel sorry that for the young man. But no, I do not think he's the biological child of Bill Clinton.
Yeah, the sad thing is I feel like Danny believes that he is the son of Bill Clinton. I mean, he's been moved to tears on multiple occasions talking about the subject. I mean, clearly, all he wants is to know his father, and, as unfortunate as it is, he believes that is Bill Clinton. So need to say thank you to Anne, listening from FSAR. Absolutely chilling. FS, that's got to be someplace in Arkansas. Fort something? Is there a fort there?
Fort Smith. That's where I live.
Fort Smith, excellent. Absolutely chilling. As a former Dem who supported the Clintons, they used and abused this state. I am so glad I woke up. Social Distancing Observer says HRC never cared about Bill's adultery because she's les. What's unfortunate about it is that it's not just that she didn't care about the adultery. She didn't care about the criminality of Bill Clinton.
No.
Because
that's what bothers me the most.
Yeah. Well, I think that many of us can agree that there's probably a fair amount of criminality on behalf of Hillary as well. Jack Krauser says, Trump tweeted a book called Opportunity Knocks, 17 letters. Oh, we'll have to check it out. Lady Princey says, Juanita, you are an inspiration. P.S. Love your accent. Will Aguilar says, truth is on your side, Juanita. It's a shame that the Clintons are allowed to roam free. Only for right now. We'll be seeing for that in a moment. And then these swamp creatures will face God's ultimate judgment. And hopefully they will face man's judgment as well before too long. Sue Randall says, I thought he was found dead, referring to Danny. Sue, if that's the case, I don't know it. The last time I checked, Danny had, was alive and he was doing interviews and stuff like that. All right. Well, I just want to let everybody know we're going to be opening the phones here in just a minute. So I want you to go ahead and get your questions ready for Juanita. Let me just get the phone number on the screen. And remember that we use Zoom for the call-in. If you don't have the app on your phone, you can call in using the phone number that you see on the screen. Also, you'll need the meeting ID and the password right there in the lower right-hand corner. For those of you who do have Zoom installed on your phone, I'm going to drop that in the chat, and you'll be able to just click that link and join us in the conversation. Keep in mind also, if you're dialing in with your phone, you should use *67 so that your phone number does not appear on screen. And then if you are using the application and you signed up using your full legal name, that's also going to show up on the screen. So you might want to make sure that you change your name so that your full name isn't on the screen. All right. So Juanita, why did you decide to write the book after all these years?
After I came back, President Trump had invited me to the inauguration. Mm-hmm. And after I came back from the inauguration, I thought, I need to sit down and write my memoirs, write about my life. And I was mainly doing it for my son, so he would have dates. He would know what my life was about in future years when I'm gone, just so he would have that. So I wrote for about 2 or 3 months. I cried and I laughed, because you're going to laugh and cry in the book.
Of course.
And then I just put it back, and I thought, one of these days I'll print that out and give it to him. And then I forgot about it. Then a few months later, an investigative reporter from Jacksonville, Florida, called me. His name is Nick Lully. He's also on he did the foreword for the book. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to do a serialized podcast about my life. And I said, well, you know, I've got an outline. And so I just sent that PDF to him. And so we could sort of arrange how the podcast would be done. Mm-hmm. It's a real quick read. And so the next day he called me back and he said, oh, no, we need to do a book. And I said, oh, I didn't write that to be a book. It's very easily read but it was just about, you know, my whole life, you know. And then after we got to thinking about it, well, we contacted publishers and everything, and not one publisher wanted to have anything to do with the book unless it was just about Bill Clinton. Well, I wrote this about my life, what it was like to be a young female entrepreneur in the 60s and the 70s, what I went through as a young woman business owner, and and then in the very middle of that, being raped by Bill Clinton, and how I got through that. And so I would tell these people, no, if I can't tell my life story, I will not go with you. So we self-published it.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah. And now, in recent years, it seems that the mainstream media has kind of turned the tide on Bill Clinton. I mean, I've seen sympathetic pieces written about you in places like the Washington Post, who previously Bill Clinton could do no wrong there. You know, when did you notice that sentiment turning in the mainstream media?
It was in 2017, and I had gone on Twitter and had seen where Chris, what is his name, on MSNBC? Anyway, he had, somebody had a video of him saying, you know, we need to take a look back at Bill Clinton. And then the next week, Michelle Goldberg, New York Times, wrote her big op-ed with the bold letters that said, I believe Juanita. I almost fell out of my chair. I mean, that's the New York Times. And then Caitlin Flanagan did her essay with the Atlantic, I believe it was the Atlantic, about how she believed me. And then others just seemed to fall in, you know, and understand, yes, this really happened. And so that makes me feel like it was all worth it. You know, if I can bring this man to justice, that's exactly what I want to do.
Has there been any possibility of that happening? Has anyone in law enforcement contacted you, or thought or considered the fact that you were brutally assaulted by this man? Has anyone thought that this could be a possibility to actually go after him and prosecute him?
No, the statute of limitations in Arkansas are 7 years.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can't go after him for the rape at all. And people say, well, sue him. Well, my money would last maybe 30 minutes against the billions. That Clinton, there's no way that you can do that. The only way that anything could ever be done regarding Bill Clinton is if someone recently should come forward, much like the lady did with the Bill Cosby thing. You know, they had all those other witnesses from years before, but then the one lady that was within the timeline of 10 years of statutory rape did come forward. And that's what got Bill Cosby. You know,
right.
That's what did him in. And unless we had something like that, no, there's no way, unless new crimes show up on Bill Clinton. Right. You know, and I don't know if your audience remembers this, but it was Judy Woodruff that was interviewing him for some network when he was doing the book with James Patterson, The President is Missing. And Judy asked him, you know, this was on either the Today Show or something, excerpts from it. And she says, well, what about all these allegations against you? And now there's coming out against other people. But what about these allegations against you? And Bill Clinton replied, Judy, the norms have changed about what you can do to someone against their will.
What?
And I remember, yes. That's, if anybody wants to Google that, it's Judy Woodruff, or they can just put that the norms have changed about what you can. It'll pop up. He said that.
Oh my goodness.
Their norms have not changed about rape.
No. I need to see if we can get that pulled up. The norms have changed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can't even believe that he would have the gall to say that. So Freight Awakening says, will you accept Bill's pen pal request from Guantanamo Bay?
Absolutely not.
Good for you.
No, not.
Ken Lipson says, Juanita, thank you so much for fighting. Gino says, hi, Juanita. Have you been able to find forgiveness in your heart or vengeance? I can't imagine the hurt you've endured all these years. God bless you.
Oh, no, I can't forgive somebody who doesn't want forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I mean, he believes he did nothing wrong. White Hat says, just saying hello. Love y'all. Godspeed. Good to see you, White Hat. And then Pat Riot, Patriot, is there any way to force a lie detector test on a U.S. civilian, even if they are a former president? Where we go one, we go all. Lie detector tests are not admissible in court. So I don't know. I don't think there's a way to force anyone to take it. I mean, I think people have to submit willingly to lie detector tests.
You know what I've always wished? That they'd have he and I in the same room taking one, or in adjoining rooms taking one at the same time.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm sure.
Wouldn't that be? I mean, that pay per view, but would really, really rack up on that.
That would be the reality show to end all reality shows. All right. Well, let's go to the phones, Juanita. Thanks again for coming here tonight. My first caller is a good friend of the program, Dana Finkler. Dana is going to come in here in just a second. Looks like he's just got to get his microphone on, or actually, he's still joining. All right. So, yeah, and thank you to everybody who is here tonight. We've got over 5,000 people in the chat and 2.1 thousand likes. If you could consider leaving a like and helping by sharing the broadcast, that is the best support we can possibly ask for. Dana, how are you tonight, buddy? Dana, not hearing anything. Testing. Yo, there you go. We got audio, Dana. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, I just want to say a prayer for Juanita and everybody that's been a victim of Bill Clinton. You guys will get your justice someday.
Excellent.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Yeah, Dana. It's all you got to say. All right, brother.
All I got to say, man. See ya.
Peace, brother. Take it easy. Thanks for your call.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, and thank you for your call, Dana. I appreciate it. Let's see. Gary, Prayer for Q Plus is the next caller. Gary, Prayer for Q Plus. Gary, are you there, my friend? Gary's audio is getting connected. So let's see. I have found the coverage on that quote from Bill Clinton. It's an article on the Clown News Network. Norms have changed for what you can do to somebody against their will. And that's the thing. If you're doing something to someone against their will, that was never okay. I don't ever remember a world. I mean, it's not like, the idea of rape as a felony was suddenly just put on the books in the last 5 years or something like that.
I'm sure he was trying to refer to men saying things or men doing things, because of the Me Too.
Sure.
But my God, that's not the way it sounded.
No. I mean, clearly, he knows he's guilty. He knows the truth of the situation, and he's trying to explain it away. And, he was hoping that perhaps at that time that Hillary still had a chance to become president, but I think we've done away with that at this point. Gary, are you there, buddy?
Yes, I am. I just wanted to call in and say thank you so much for having the courage to step forward, knowing that you'd at least go through part of this trial that you've gone through, and wanted to thank Red Pill also for having great people like her on the show. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate it, buddy. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for your call.
You too. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
I'll see you. All right. Appreciate that. Let's see. So Have you, Juanita, been following what's been taking place in the news in terms of, I mean, people have intimated in several comments that perhaps there may be justice coming for the Clintons. Not that long ago, we had the arrest of a billionaire named Jeffrey Epstein, who had very close ties to the Clintons, had a private island and flew both of them on his private jet many times. And more than likely, there were some serious crimes committed at that time. Have you been following any of this information coming out about this other stuff?
I see things all the time about, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen, but nothing ever does. Mm-hmm. I just really don't get excited about that anymore.
Okay, well, I can certainly understand. Jason Woke Up in Vegas says, Juanita, when you said the men of that day were so quick to dismiss beautiful warriors such as yourself, I cried, and I'm reminded I don't just fight for the children. We will hold them all accountable. Love you all. Well, thank you, Jason. Appreciate that too. It's a horrible thought to think that at any time in history that people could just get away with something like this. I mean, there's a lot of complexity to a crime such as this. I mean, not only the physical and mental anguish, but the shame I'm sure that you must have felt. I mean, and the perhaps a bit of self-loathing even to think how could I have allowed myself to be in a situation like this. But
exactly. Yeah, I blame myself for so long.
Yeah.
I blame myself. How could I have been so stupid? How did I not know? Mm-hmm. You naturally go through that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just so I hope that you're aware that it wasn't your fault and it never was your fault. Warrior for Truth says, thank you, Juanita, for your bravery and courage. It's because of strong women like you that we were able to defeat the Clinton machine. God bless you. And,
thank you.
Will Aguilar says, Q for Juanita. Dog-faced pony soldier Biden will not make it till November. What are your thoughts if the DNC throws Madam Pantsuit in the race? This is something we talk about quite often, Juanita. I mean, Joe Biden does not seem physically or mentally capable of running a real presidential campaign. What are your thoughts on Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee, and do you think there's a possibility that we might see Hillary thrust back into the mix?
Oh, I think we will. Mm. I just don't see how she can pass this up. He is not a legitimate candidate, and the Democrats know that. And I mean, they know this right now, Zach. Mm-hmm. And so they're planning for something. There's none of the people that he could possibly name as his vice president that could pull their party together any better than Hillary. But I think it'd be a huge mistake. I think it'll be her third loss. I truly believe that they're trying to figure out some way right now to get her into the mix.
What do you think about the theory that Michelle or Michael Obama might be the chosen VP nominee?
I don't see that.
Don't see it?
No, I really don't see that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think they want. I don't think that he or he or he.
Either of those boys.
I don't think either of those boys want anything to do with Biden.
oh, man. Okay, we're going to our next caller. Denise, my UK correspondent. Thank you very much for that chat, Will. We appreciate it. Let's see. So, Denise, getting your microphone hooked up. I just want to go back to this article here. I think the norms have really changed in terms of what you can do to somebody against their will, how much you can crowd their space, make them miserable at work. That's, I mean, like the ultimate minimization.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. Hi, Denise. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just having a fit of the giggles over that last comment.
That was great. And just want to tell everyone, the meeting ID and the password are on the screen, but I'm going to go ahead and drop them both into the chat right there. And one more time, I'm going to go ahead and drop the Zoom link into the chat. And actually, I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. I see the Zoom link now. All right, great. So, Denise, thank you for calling. I appreciate you being here with us tonight. What's your question for Juanita?
It's more of a comment. You are just the bravest woman and a real role model for women to follow. That has been a hell of a burden for you to carry. And how you haven't slapped him in the face when you bumped into him, I don't know.
Denise, I thought about it, how wonderful it would be.
Because I think that's this is just my own opinion, Red Pill. Much as we would all love to see them, the pair of them, do a perp walk, I really can't see it. They just seem ultra untouchable.
Yeah. Oh, they do. I love your accent.
Well, I am calling you from the UK.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, that's excellent. Nice to meet you, Denise.
And you. I just wish I could give you. My arms aren't long enough to give you a cuddle. But if I could, I would.
A cuddle. Oh, that's so sweet, Joe. Thank you so much.
More power to you, Juanita.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, good night. Bye.
My microphone was muted. I think that a lot of people are afraid there will be no justice when it comes to the Clintons. I mean, they've gotten away with so much for so long, but there's also a large part of me that says President Trump made some incredible statements with regard to making sure that Hillary Clinton went to jail. I would say that a big part of his platform was circling around bringing justice to people such as yourself that were harmed by the Clintons. And I have to believe that there is a chance that they may actually face some form of justice. Juanita, are you aware of all of the sealed indictments currently in the United States?
Oh, yeah, you mean the ones from Durham investigation?
Yes, the ones from the Durham investigation.
I've been trying. Yeah, I had just heard, of course, on Twitter that they were narrowing in on John Brennan. And when they do, that goes direct to Obama.
Oh, yes. And by proxy also goes straight to the Clintons. I mean, it was a tangled web. But, I'm expecting to see somewhere in the avenue of 6 indictments coming up here in the near future. But countrywide, we have over 160,000 sealed indictments, which have.
Oh my gosh!
I
had no idea.
Yeah, it's an unprecedented number. Generally, in a single year in the United States, we would have maybe a couple of thousand sealed indictments. But the number began when President Trump came into office. And each year, over the past 3 or 4 years, it's continued to increase. And, tens of thousands each month, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Now, those sealed indictments are connected to a lot of criminal activity, and they are connected to a lot of individuals which have just not been, arrested or unsealed yet. So I have a very, very great hope that Bill and Hillary are among some of those within those sealed indictments, because if you look at what's taken place over the last couple of years, what they did to President Trump, what they did to candidate Trump, there were a lot of people that were involved in this. And obviously we can say the big names, Brennan, Obama, Clinton, Loretta Lynch, Sally Yates, all of these people, Jim Comey. But then, of course, there's all of the people around them. And
Right.
I would argue that they are part of a larger transnational criminal organization. And so you've got people probably all over the globe that are looking at, being indicted for a variety of crimes. I'm sure you're aware of the activity that was going on under Bill Clinton as Attorney General and when he was governor with Barry Seal and the people that were smuggling drugs into the country using Arkansas.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, those people, they could still be ready to pay for those things. And, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm really hoping that we're going to see something that comes up here within, the next several months, because I think for many people, President Trump needs to make a move on actually finalizing that cleanup of the swamp, or they're going to be very angry come November.
Oh, exactly. And you know why? He's not had an opportunity.
Yes.
I mean, look how long the impeachment. They have tried to keep that man tied up so he won't get to these indictments.
Exactly.
And the ties that the Clintons have go so deep and so far and so wide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, our next caller is on the line. It's my friend Aaron. What's going on, Aaron?
Hey, Red and Juanita. How are you doing? I'm doing
fine. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. People say, well, how has your life changed? And I said, well, my life hasn't really changed during all this quarantine because I don't go to health clubs and I don't go to bars and I don't go to casinos. As long as Walmart is open, I'm okay.
Good stuff.
Thank you for being such a warrior. And I got to say, when I saw you at that debate, it was just such a rush, and all the other girls there, such a rush that finally justice is going to happen and the truth is going to be known. And I met Bill Clinton before he was president in Minneapolis on a campaign run. Shook his hands. He's got big, like farmer dude hands. He's a big guy.
Yes.
His fingers are like thick. He's like a farmer. And
yes.
He signed my shirt. I had a Dan Quayle Potato Head t-shirt, and he signed it with a ballpoint pen. And then later he signed another guy's hat with a Sharpie. And he said, give me that shirt back. He signed it twice. I thought, what a great guy. Now, I don't, I want to like burn the shirt or does anybody want it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I understand that completely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I had a part in my book that my nursing home van was loaded down with yard signs and T-shirts and buttons and bumper stickers and all that. And I can remember going and burning, taking all of that stuff out and burning it all, and how good I felt watching all of that burn on this box.
I bet. Oh, that must have felt good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And boy, Hillary, we really dodged a bullet not having her be president.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, didn't we? Didn't we? I tweeted here just a little while back, and I said, hey, everybody, Satan called. He wants us to all please quit telling Hillary to go to hell because he does not want her.
Oh, that's great.
Believe it.
That's great.
Thank you for being so brave. There's a lot of love for you, and we pray for you, and we can't wait to see those Clintons clanking cups behind bars.
Absolutely.
Oh, me too. Me too. Thank you.
All right, Aaron, thanks for your call, buddy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Red.
We'll talk to you soon, brother. All right. So somebody had asked in the chat, where can they get Juanita's book? And both I and JoJo dropped the link to her website. It's right there, and you can even get it an autographed edition. Juanita, is there the opportunity for them to buy the autographed and also the non-autographed, or do you just autograph all of them?
Yeah. No. I autograph a case at a time and send them to the person at my website who mails them. But there's also a link on there. It's $25 for a signed copy. And if you go to there's also a link just to go straight to Amazon to order it. And I think it's around 18, 19, something like that.
Well, hopefully if anybody buys the book, they will support you directly and get it directly through your website, because we all know that Amazon has some unfair business practices. My buddy Red Pill's Warhawk, Mr. Dragon, is on the line next. And just so everybody also knows, I'm going to drop your Twitter status into, or excuse me, your Twitter handle into the chat, you guys. If you're on Twitter and you're not following Juanita yet, please go to Twitter and follow her. Mr. Dragon, what's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, man. Not too much. Just hanging out.
My phone was being stupid.
No problem. What's your question or comment for Juanita?
Well, ma'am, I got to say, I was listening from the beginning, and it was honestly hard to listen to. The longer you went on, the more rage I felt fill me up, until I heard you, I don't know, get comfortable and begin to laugh and joke. And
yeah,
I'm so happy you did not let that ruin you as a person. And
yeah, well, it's been hard. It's been a very difficult thing, but I've worked myself through it and have accepted that that bad things happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. I only hope and pray that I can raise my daughters to be as strong as you are.
Oh, that's very kind. Very kind. Thank you.
Woman. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
I do have a question for you, though. What caliber are you packing?
Oh, I've got a Smith & Wesson 38. It's the old 5-shot. Yeah,
yes,
I bought
ma'am.
Yeah. I bought it years ago from Oklahoma State Patrolman. His father was in my nursing home, and he wanted to sell it, and I bought it. And then I think it was the next year that Smith & Wesson discontinued the 5-shot. And I remember him coming back to me and saying, I'd sure like to buy that gun back from you, but I still have it.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I love you so much right now.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, I'm going to get back on. You guys keep up the great work.
Thank you, Mr. Dragon.
Thank
Appreciate you.
You're just an amazing woman.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thanks for your call, brother.
Have a good one. Yep, later now.
Talk to you soon. Okay, let me just do a couple of quick thank yous from the audience. Let's see. Creative Unique says, Hillary Clinton, when she was an attorney, there is audio of her saying her client was guilty and passed a lie detector test. She never believed in them again. Yes, I've heard that audio.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's the lady that was with me at the second debate,
yes.
Kathy Shelton.
Yep, that poor girl. And then Kelly Dunn says, are we sure Biden isn't faking so he can claim he isn't mentally fit to stand trial? Because this happened overnight, not over time. Well, what do you think about that, Juanita? Do you think Biden might be faking it so that he has some plausible deniability if justice does come?
Oh, no, I don't think he's faking it at all. I had a nursing home. I know how incoherent, senile people act, and he is definitely one.
Well, and, this is actually something that I wanted to ask you. I had forgotten about it. I mean, you have a unique perspective, as having been an owner of nursing homes. Just as an armchair diagnosis, I mean, what would you think is going on with Joe Biden? I mean, do you think that he's just aged out of being able to do anything? Do you think he's got Alzheimer's, dementia?
I think there's early Alzheimer's, of course, with the associated dementia. Mm-hmm. Whenever I had Alzheimer's patients that when they first came into the nursing home, when they were no longer able to, to take care of themselves and their family couldn't take care of them. Mm-hmm. Prior to that time, the families would tell me that, how they would act and how they would be able to be talking and doing just fine, and then all of a sudden start to garble their words. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly how Joe Biden is. He is he has dementia.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you. I think that there really is something going on with Joe Biden's faculties. Truth Truthulu, like Cthulhu. Okay. Red Pill, thank you for your wonderful guest. Juanita, prayers for you moving forward from Australia. Thank you for that. Gaffer Anon says, in my opinion, I believe the Clintons will go the way of no name. Every dog has its day. Hashtag in it together. Hashtag Patriots fight. Hashtag where we go one, we go all. And Will Aguilar says, Juanita, what are your thoughts on the disparity of treatment between Blasey Ford and Tara Reade? By the way, I pray for comfort and peace for you. Yeah, the press and the establishment came out, strongly in favor of Christine Blasey Ford, and now we have Tara Reade, who is making a credible claim, and she's absolutely dismissed by the media. And the only difference is that one person was accusing a Republican, and now this person is accusing a Democrat, the presumptive Democrat nominee for president.
Oh, exactly. I talked with Tara about a week ago on the phone for quite a long time. She has a harrowing story. It's I won't go into it, but I believed her. I believed her. She remembered, just like I did, everything that happened. Blasey Ford made up things as she went. And with that little baby voice that she was trying to get sympathy from, that woman, you cannot have what she said happened to her and not even know where you were, how you got there, and how you got home. You just, it was so fake, but she was against a Republican.
Yes, I've often heard that being in that situation, the specifics are almost burned into your mind. It becomes impossible to not know exactly what was going on. And Red Pills Warhawk says, I want to take her to the range with me, bro. Well, if you're ever in, if you're ever down south. All right. And let's go ahead and bring in the next.
Oh, I gotta tell him something real quick.
Go ahead.
Whenever I took my concealed weapons class, I won. They always have the shooting at the end, your target practice, and I beat all of the men, so he would probably not want to go with me.
You'd have your work cut out for you, Red Pills Warhawk.
I used to go target shooting with my father when I was young.
Okay, awesome. Let's see, next caller, Abby Jones. Abby Jones is coming up next, and let me go ahead. Abby, how are you? Just waiting for your microphone to get turned on. There you go. We've got sound.
Are you looking for me?
I'm looking for you, Abby. Mute the stream in the background.
On my phone?
Well, wherever it's being played from, because we'll get like a loop. It'll come through and it'll echo.
You can't hear it anymore.
Okay, awesome. Well, Abby, what's going on?
Oh, hi. How are you?
Pleasure to have you here.
Abby.
Yes, Florida Sunsprite.
So, this is my question for. Well, I have a comment first.
Okay, go ahead.
For Juanita, thank you for coming on. One thing that I think is so amazing about your story that I can't even believe that you don't bring up is when I was younger, I was raped, and I don't think about it on a daily basis. I don't have to. I don't ever see that person. And I can't imagine how difficult it is to have that happen to you and then see that person succeed immensely in life and have to see them every day. So, the fact that
it was awful. Yeah. It was awful, Abby. I can remember when my husband and I would be watching television and Bill Clinton would come on, and it was who could get the remote the quickest to switch the channel. And we even had to change our church service. I was Episcopalian at the time. And in the regular church service, when they had the prayers for the government, they would say, we pray for the president, Bill Clinton, and then on down the line to the mayor of my city. And I couldn't take it, every time his name was mentioned. So we switched to another church service where they only mentioned the office of the person in government, and I didn't have to hear his name.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, anytime somebody does you wrong, you want to see them burn in hell. Maybe you'll get your chance with Bill Clinton, but to see them rise, a lot of strength.
Thank you so much.
My question is this, because I am always so confused by these people in general that are so corrupt and evil, and they rise to such power within the government, is when this happened to you, was his personality, could you see a shadiness about his personality prior to this happening, or was it a complete Jekyll and Hyde?
Oh, it was a complete Jekyll and Hyde. It was, I've never been so shocked in all my life. You know, whenever he turned on me in that room back in 1978, whenever that happened, I was totally taken off guard.
Yeah, that is just, it's so weird, as if we hear this often, and about how their personalities will turn on a dime. And, you know, I'm more conspiratorial than maybe you are or most people, but, you know, you think about that MK Ultra type of thing on, do these people really slip into other personalities? Or is that just how a psychopath acts? I don't really know.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that there's obviously an element of psychopathy in there. I think that, you know, he can go from, you know, being very congenial, very personable, one moment to just immediate, oh, look at that. Hey, what's up, buddy? to you know, to completely flipping, and you know, it's nothing to him, because, you know, when it comes down to it, the people around him are they're cattle, you know. I mean, they are property, essentially. He has no care or concern or empathy for people that are in his sphere. It's just, how can he use you at any given moment?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
exactly.
Thank you so much for your time, Juanita. Thanks for having me, Red Pill. Love you.
Abby, thanks for being here. I appreciate you calling in. All right.
Have a good.
You too. We'll talk to you soon. All right. And I just got a couple of thank yous. Oh, Red Pills Warhawk says that he loves you even more. So thanks for that, buddy. Oh, shoot. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get your picture back on the screen. There we go. Texas Q Patriot says, at Juanita, were you married at the time of the attack?
Yes, I was married at the time of the attack, but I was going through, I had more or less separated from my husband. If you've read my book, you'll know that we were having, my husband was an alcoholic, my first husband, Gary Hickey. And yes, I was married and divorced the following, I guess it was about 6 months after the rape.
Okay. All right. And then Jennifer4327 says, what a great show. How do you get such exceptional guests, RP? My dear Juanita, you are an inspiration to all that have kept a serious secret to protect their family. I hope you can find comfort with the love this audience has for you. God bless.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Jennifer. And I get exceptional guests because I work very hard at it, very diligently. And thank you. And again, Juanita, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this with us tonight. We appreciate it. Jordan Brown.
Oh, you need to tell the people. You need to tell the people why I'm not on your screen tonight.
Oh, well, I'll let you tell the story. You can. I didn't know if you wanted me to or not.
Zak was going to have me also on video, but I lost a tooth out of my bottom bridge, and it's so noticeable. I almost look like an elderly meth person with this big gap in there. And so I told Zak, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't go because I can't go to the dentist, not with this quarantine going on."
That's exactly.
So I begged him to please just do audio tonight.
Well, yeah, you know, it's totally acceptable. I can, definitely relate. I've been in a situation before where I broke a tooth, and I can only imagine, especially if it was up front. So thanks for being honest with the audience. And guys, you know, thank you for being willing to allow us to just do the voice and myself on video tonight. Jordan Brown says, a very good show. We are with you, Juanita. Where we go one, we go all. Sammy Q Patriot says, Juanita, God bless you. You have an amazing spirit, and I love your concealed carry story. You go, lady. Awesome interview, Red Pill. Thank you for that. And then Skeeter, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see. My buddy Jason woke up in Vegas is next. We're gonna hear from Jason. And thank you, everybody in the audience. Just one more thing. We've got just over 5,000 people watching, 2.8 thousand likes. And if you guys could consider, please, dropping a like on this. It would really help us out in terms of breaking through. Jason is just working to get his microphone working. But again, thank you very much, Skeeter. Appreciate it. So Juanita, do you have any interest in writing any more books? Are you going to continue to write, or was this just a one-off?
Well, I think there probably will be another book. I have a big project going right now.
Oh.
And it's something that I wish I could tell you about it, but I can't. But it has to do with a screenplay.
Oh, well, I think I can pick up what you're laying down.
Yeah, the screenplay is almost through, and then it'll probably take a few months, to see where we go with this. But I am so thrilled with the young lady who has written the screenplay. We've spent about a year together, off and on. She lives in L.A., and it's just been a very heartwarming project. So hopefully maybe there'll be a movie sometime soon.
Well, please, I hope you'll consider coming back, with the production once that's all complete. I would love to help, publicize it in any way. All right, so my buddy Jason is on the line with a giant MAGA hat. What's going on, brother? Oh, he's still getting his microphone working. No sound yet. Okay, so Claudette Petchart, thank you very much for that super chat. Chris Hawkins says, RP is very blessed in skills. Keeps it organic. So much love on this frequency. Yes, I do what I can to bring you guys myself as I am, and to put out good vibes so we can get excellent guests and tell fascinating stories and talk about the real news so that people can get the information. Obviously, the mainstream media is not going to bring us any type of truth. It has become essentially an arm of the Democratic Party. They're working against President Trump all the time. So, getting back to, the mainstream response now, has there been any other interest in your story from the mainstream media, or were they just interested in, cashing in on that Me Too movement at that moment in time, and then they felt, they had enough of you and discarded the story?
Oh, well, Me Too has never reached out to the Clinton victims, ever. We have never been a part of Me Too. In fact, before they came out as the Time Person of the Year, Charlotte Alter, who works for Time Magazine, called me and wanted to do an interview about Me Too. And, that's before it was really huge. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, Charlotte, I do not feel a part of Me Too. Whenever questions are asked about the Clinton victims, they absolutely ignore them. So I don't feel a part of that. And so I hung up with her, and she kept calling back wanting me to do a comment regarding Me Too for the article that was coming out. And so I did. I submitted a comment to her because even though they had ignored us, I thought, well, they do a lot of good for some people, surely. So I did submit a real positive thing. And then all of a sudden, when they became Time Person of the Year, I went to the article. I was, wanting to see what they put in there of my comment, and they did not put it in. And I called her and I said, why did you bother me all that time for making the comment about Me Too if it wasn't going to be included? Mm-hmm. And she said, well, that's up to the writers who they feel is the most important comment to include. And I hung up on her.
Well, I would say that your story is a must include for something like this. I mean, you could have been one of the original proponents of this movement if only they had taken it seriously instead of trying to drag you through the mud and play politics. Jason's having some trouble getting his microphone working, so we're going to go to our next caller. Caller, you're on the air. Can we get your name for the audience?
Yeah, This is Corey. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Corey. Yes. Thanks for your call, Corey. What's your question or comment for Juanita?
More of a comment. I just really admire her. I've been following her for quite some time on Twitter, and I just wanted to add something for the perspective of the men listening. I mean, I've never been raped, so I don't know what that feels like. But my wife was sexually assaulted 5 years ago, and I'm not a soft man, and I don't show emotion, and I can't, like, for the men listening, I felt like I had been raped myself, like,
Sure.
And the emotions were indescribable. And I'm not talking, I didn't want to cry, but I went into the deepest depression for months.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see these women come forward, like some of them we've seen in the news over the last few years are obviously frauds, but it's hard to imagine what these women go through. So it takes a lot of courage. And the first week after it happened, because this was my best friend that did it, and so the emotions were especially strong.
Yeah.
But I contemplated a course of action for about a week before we did anything. So it was like flipping a coin. On the one hand, it was like, perhaps I go to jail for the rest of my life. And obviously we didn't take that course of action, but we eventually went to the police and filed a complaint. That's all we could do, right? We just said, well, this person was a very close friend. He had proven himself over and over again over the years of being trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
And like she said about Bill Clinton, that you would have never, ever expected it. Just Jekyll and Hyde moment.
Mm-hmm.
And caught us off guard. And, you know, it's not her fault. It wasn't my fault. We just didn't know, right? Because he had proven himself super trustworthy. And so we went to the police, and it was just terrible because it's all you can do. And they did their investigation, and it just boiled down to her word against his. And they went to all of our friends and it happened after a night out. So they went to the establishment that we frequented, and we knew everybody there. And those people called us, and they were talking to us about it. And they all felt bad for her, but they said, he's our friend too. We don't know who to believe. And so I understand. It's just the strangest feeling when you know that something bad has happened, but in this case, nothing ever happened to him. He didn't get any charges because there was no, of course, there's no videotape, there's no audio tape, just her word against his. So I really feel what you went through, and it's like it robs you of your personal power, and it takes your strength away for quite some time. And I mean, I literally couldn't focus. I felt like I was floating, and I couldn't think about work. Didn't know what to do.
Well, Corey, I just want to say, first of all, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I can completely relate, you know, in terms of what you wanted to do. And you know, thank God you showed restraint. But, you know, unfortunately, although your former friend, was unable to receive man's justice, I mean, he's going to get what's coming to him when it gets time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so anyways, just like it's what these women do when they come forward, like people need to understand it takes incredible strength, because that's what happens so often, is that nobody believes them, and they get this public exposure, and the humiliation gets escalated, and it lasts for a long time after that. And now they have an additional level of shame on top of it that they don't deserve, but that's just the way it goes, right? It's because nobody wants to see somebody falsely accused or falsely imprisoned or whatever. But it's it's such a hard situation for, and I understand from the other side too, for the law enforcement. They can't just go ahead and throw somebody in jail just on the basis of one person's, you know, statement. But boy, it's like,
right. And I'm so sorry for your wife, because I know exactly how she feels.
But anyways, I should let you guys go. But anyways, God bless all of you. And like I say, there's hopefully light at the end of this tunnel. Like I'm a big follower of yours, Red Pill, and been following Q since day one. So I can smell it, I can feel it, and it feels like it's right around the corner.
I'm right there with you. Well, thanks for your courage.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Appreciate your call.
Yes, you too.
Oh, that did take a lot of courage, you know, because people don't understand that the people around you suffer too.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, our caller Jason woke up in Vegas, is on the line, and his microphone's ready. What's going on, my friend?
What's going up, brother? Can you hear me, Red Bill?
I can hear you just fine. Yep.
Oh man, first I need to say this before I lose it, man. And lose this nugget, right? I need to talk to our family and all the people out there that are listening to this tonight. How can, and I talk about it all the time in my live streams, guys, and when we're talking in person, how can I expect POTUS and Q to hold these people accountable when we're not even willing to hold the people in our communities accountable because we're so uncomfortable, our voices ain't loud enough? Juanita, I met you out here in Las Vegas. Our friend Nadine introduced us at Deplorapalooza, and I remember sitting down at the table with you and crying and telling you that there's a bunch of people fighting for you. And at Deplorapalooza, besides getting to sit down and eat dinner with Nadine and Jean and their family and sharing that moment, that was the special moment of that night for me being there, was that I got to sit down and talk to you and see how authentic you were. And I was reminded why I fight. And I want to remind the people that, this movement has always been about the people. We were out here in Las Vegas today, 3,000 deep, right? There's live streams. It probably won't be accessible for another 15 hours, but we live streamed 2 hours of it. And it's on the YouTube channel. And the people came together. The people no longer are willing to sit back and allow these things to happen. And I remind you guys, it's our responsibility to protect these women and children and each other, those that aren't strong enough to stand in their voice. This is a movement of the people. This is what this has always been about. Q has been the template. I wear that shirt, that We Are Q shirt, all the time because we are Q. We make Q, guys. We're the collective. And when we stand together, no longer do we hear these stories of the women and the innocent and all these things being taken advantage of. And Juanita, I love you so much. And I was honored that night to share that moment with you. And I just wanted to tell you thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jason, thanks for your call, buddy. I appreciate it. You're absolutely right. We not only have to be there for each other, but we need to make sure that people like this are held accountable. And it's because of people like you out there that the world is changing. So I love you so much, man. Thanks for calling in.
I love you, Red Pill. I love all you guys out there. And I look forward to spending some time. I'm going to leave a couple minutes for anybody else or something. But
all right, brother.
You guys stay strong, man. Them lanterns are lit. Our voice is loud. We're the people. They're public servants. They're going to follow our voice. Whatever, if we're willing to stand up and fight for something, they're going to get behind us because our voice is loud enough. The power has always been in the people. Go get it. I love you guys. I'm proud of all you. Talk to you soon, Red Pill.
Love you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you too.
Thanks.
All right, awesome. Let's see. We've still got 8 people on the line, but I don't think we're going to have enough time to get to everybody. Zoso Dude 77 is our next caller. And while we're waiting for him to come in, I'm also going to bring in another caller just in case anybody has any microphone issues and we can get. So let's first go with caller with the phone number ending 4650. Can you hear me?
Roger that.
Okay, excellent. If you've got your stream going in the background, just pause it or mute it so that we don't get any feedback. And can we get your name for the audience?
This is Zoso, dude.
Oh, Zoso, we're going to go with the first caller here, buddy. I'm just going to mute you while we're doing that. Caller, what was your name?
Hello, Red. This is Scott from FEMA Region 5 on the border of Chicago.
Thank you for your call, Scott. What's your question or comment for Juanita?
Oh, sending much love to both of you and anybody who's been a victim of any type of sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. And just saying I'm totally 100% behind Juanita, and I'm calling more to just encourage her. Just great encouragement, great callers tonight, great program, Red. Justice is here. We're not going to have to wait. Most assuredly, I tell you, Miss Broaddrick, that Hillary Clinton is going to jail. Bill may not go to jail. Barack Obama will go to jail and be defrocked of his title. These things we will see. Tribunals are coming. Justice is here. This is a letter. This is encouragement. This is not the time of the end. We aren't getting raptured. We're not going into Armageddon. We're going to be out of the woods shortly with this COVID thing. This is, I would pose to everyone who's listening, is this really a movement of man? Or is this a movement of God? Or is this a movement of God and man? And I would say it's the latter. Trump will be reelected. We will have 8 years of Pence after that. And also, a little heads up, Donald Jr. will be sitting in that White House. Red, and everybody have a great 2020. God is on the move.
Absolutely.
Over and out.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your call. God is great, and I completely agree with all of those sentiments. We are at an unprecedented moment in history, and I am grateful to be alive and be here with all of you guys now. Zoso Dude 77, thank you for your call, buddy. What's going on?
Not a problem, man. Finally got through.
I'm glad to hear from you. What's your question or comment for Juanita?
Joe, for just before we go there, I just got to tell you, RP, I've been following you. I found you by accident one day, well over a year and a half ago, before you even put yourself on screen. Dude, you are the preeminent interviewer. You are leading a YouTube phenomenon. It's phenomena. God bless you for everything you do.
Well, thank you for saying Juanita, that. I appreciate it.
No worries, buddy. Juanita, in listening to you tonight, I've heard you speak before. The strength that you have. I mean, I pray for you. You're an amazing woman, and what a guidance for what women should be in their lives. But here's my question. There have been so many, people like you, Juanita. Are you in contact with the others? I mean, let's say there's some extraordinary new forensic technology that comes through, and they can put the clamps on Bill and actually he gets prosecuted. Would you participate?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't have any problem at all. I would love to be able to participate. And yes, I'm in contact with the other ladies, especially one that people don't hear about a lot. And her name is Leslie Millwee. She was a young 20-year-old reporter here in Fort Smith when Bill Clinton sexually assaulted her. She didn't come out until 2016. I believe she was either at the third debate or maybe the first, but very, very, she's a social worker now for hospice. And it's terrible what he did to her.
Absolutely tragic. I mean, the wreckage that Bill Clinton has left all across this country and all across the world. I mean, let's, not even to mention Haiti. It's absolutely horrible and horrific. Zoso Dude, thanks for your call, buddy. I'm going to try to get one more in.
Thanks a lot.
Hey,
See ya.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I just need to say real quick, thank you to DP. Says, thanks, RP, for another awesome, insightful night. Juanita, the storm is coming, and justice will be had. Stay strong and smart, beautiful and brave. Where we go one, we go all. And then
Wonderful.
Red Pills Warhawk, thank you for that. Chris Hawkins says, we need to walk our neighborhoods and make sure love is our product we give freely. And also thank you to TJ Graces. Let's see. I know that, Katie, Love by the Moon. We wouldn't be a night on Saturday Night Live without Katie on the line. Oops, and it looks like Zoso's Dude is still here. Well, I can't hang up on Zoso Dude, so he'll be here until the end. Katie, are you there? All right, we're still waiting on Katie's microphone, so we're going to go with one more phone call because I know that microphone should be working right away. Caller with the phone number, call-in user 3. Call-in user 3, can we get your name?
Yes, it is Brian, but my wife calls me Mr. Amazing.
Mr. Amazing.
Not sure if you remember me from a while ago, but I've been trying to call in for months, and this is the first time I've been able to get in. But Juanita, you are amazing. The bravery of what you guys have gone through and all the other women, especially actually showing up to the debates, was amazing. But real quick, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I almost call it Biden or Biden by design. And I'm wondering if they're keeping everyone like Hillary and Michelle Obama or any other potential Democratic candidates out of the debates, especially when the Democrats were debating other Democrats and blasting all of their info out into the limelight. And all of a sudden they trot out this guy who can't even, he doesn't even know which stadium it is, let alone step up to the plate. And that's a shout out to Dan Bongino. I'm not sure if you saw that interview. But I'm just wondering if they're marching out a guy who can't even make a coherent sentence just so that they can step in later and missing all of the debates so that they don't get all of their dirty laundry aired out there again. And then they pass this COVID-19 bill with these mail-in ballots and making it easier for illegal aliens to add to the elections. And I'm just wondering, especially with you being with the Clintons in the political atmosphere, if maybe this Biden thing is by design so that all of a sudden they get this puppet out there right at the end.
Oh, I know something is going to have to happen because Biden, can you imagine Joe Biden in a debate with Donald Trump?
He's going to wipe the floor with him.
They have to have something in the back room ready to come out. I feel like they do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mr. Amazing.
It's an honor and privilege to talk to both you guys. And God bless everyone. God bless America. God bless Trump. And where we go, one we go all. Love you guys.
Where we go, one we go all. Thanks for your call, brother. I appreciate it. All right. We got our last caller on the line. Katie, are you there?
Hey, how are you?
I am excellent. How about yourself?
Very well, thank you. 2 quick comments and then a question.
Okay.
First of all, I really have you and at Rio Red Pill girlfriend on my heart, and I'm so sorry this is happening to you guys. It's breaking my heart for you guys.
Yeah.
And then but you guys will be together soon.
Absolutely.
I think it's beautiful. But Juanita,
thank you so much.
Juanita, I wanted to think you are absolutely audacious, and you are a beautiful, beautiful soul. And my question, real quick, was: have you ever thought about talking and speaking to the youth, like young women and children, like of high school age? Talking about things that needs to be addressed.
Right. And I've been very involved with the USA,
Turning Point.
The youth there. Yeah, Turning Point. And also I've spoken at 3 different colleges, and that was delightful. I speak a lot. Of course, I'm under quarantine now with this thing. I don't have the COVID-19, but we're all at our stay at home. But yes, I've spoken at colleges, and I speak mostly when I travel and speak is that Republican organizations. I travel all over from California to New York.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for everything you do. I just want to say, God bless all of you. Thank you, Red Pill. Again, you're beautiful soul, Juanita. And
thank you.
You're so welcome. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Katie, thanks for your call. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you soon. All right. And there we go. All right, so we have reached the end of our regularly scheduled broadcast. Just need to do a couple of quick thank yous. Jordan Brown says for some cat treats. Thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate it. I've got a big bucket of catnip that's arriving tomorrow for the cats. Jennifer4327, Juanita and Roseanne Barr, you are the best, RP. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Jay Rife says, thank you for a great show. Stay brave, Juanita. And JNBD, did you get our pens and brochures yet? Yes, I got them just a couple couple of days ago. We need your opinions on our red pilling package. Bless you, Juanita. Send me an email, redpill78@protonmail.com, and I will be happy to talk to you about it. Thank you very much for that care package. I thought it was a great idea. All right. Well, Juanita, once again, thank you so much for being here. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you here. As I said earlier, I hope that in the future you will come back. You've got an open invitation. I'm going to give you the last word. What do you want to leave the audience with?
Well, so many people have been asking me on Twitter, why do I have the handle that I have? And it's ATENSNUT. And it means a tennis nut. I love tennis and I love to play tennis. So it's pronounced a tennis nut.
That's great. I always thought it was like a tin nut. That's what I saw when I saw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I bet you many people were wondering. All right. Thank you so much, Juanita. Thank you very much to the audience. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to my mom and my girlfriend for being here and helping out. And thank you to the dogs for being well behaved this evening. All right. So I guess that's all we have for you tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News for Saturday Night Livestream. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.